and we're going to go ahead and get started. My name's April, and I've been working in the coaching mentoring field for many years and sharing information and working with others and watching lives change. And that's what it's all about, seeing how we can change lives, how lives can be changed, and the effect that we can have on and with that. And the important thing to remember is that as we're moving forward and we're moving forward in our lives, that the whole purpose and principle of that is for that change, to gain a higher understanding of who we are and what our purpose is. I get asked that question probably at least a dozen times a week when I'm talking to new potential clients or when I'm talking to others that are interested in finding out more about coaching and mentoring. The general theme of the conversations are, who am I? Why am I here? How can I correct and change things and make them more impactful and more powerful in my life? And as we go through the teleseminar tonight, we're going to work on and we're going to talk a lot about those type of things and how it is totally intrinsic of our entire being, how it is all of us as the whole gambit, as the whole model. And like I said, I've done this for a number of years, and my whole goal and my whole prayer is to help people to improve the quality of their lives, to gain a higher and better understanding of where they're going and being who they were meant to be. And as I've shared with many people and watched lives change, it's just phenomenal to watch and see that growth happen. And I feel such an honor and such a privilege when I get that experience to do such a thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started, and we're going to talk about expect to be who you are. And the best way I can describe that is to ask a question. And in that question, the question is, what is your relationship with? And with life, with you, with whatever you want to plug in there. It can be, what is your relationship with your family? What is your relationship with your career? What is your relationship with finances? What is your relationship emotionally, financially, spiritually? All of those fit into that mold. For every whole, there are many pieces. And these pieces, when they are in union, make for a perfect life, make for everything to be totally working and totally fitting together. If we made this like a pie chart, you'd actually be able to see each slice and each piece cut and divided actually perfectly in union. And when you're working with a coach, and the energy and focus, when structured correctly, gives you that desired results needed to become your true intrinsic self. And when we look at it, we're looking at that whole person, each individual being uniquely different but structured the same. We all face the challenges. We all face the blessings of life, all within the same structural areas. It's just a little bit of difference in the areas that are stronger and weaker per individual. Not everyone's going to be strong in their emotional. Not everybody's going to be weak in their financial. And that's where you, as an individual, look at yourself and you determine, what are areas that are really out of balance for me? What are areas that are really needing my structure and my attention so that I can really step into seeing the whole and what part of the whole isn't quite fitting in right. So we're going to look at the whole puzzle as mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. It's within each of these areas where we are created and have life. I'm going to show you as we're going through this seminar how each one of these interconnects and how each one of these the pieces all just go right into almost like a domino effect with one another. So it's kind of like, how is my relationship financially actually affecting my relationship spiritually? Or how is my relationship spiritually affecting my relationship with my family, or my physical, or my intuition, that type of thing. It all interconnects. It all interweaves. It's within each of these areas where we're created and have life, where many pieces of the whole are exposed. That is the key points and ways that we can improve these areas. For example, I need to pay attention. I need to be observing, and I need to I'm going to give you a number of definitions here for this. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 different areas that you're really going to want to make an awareness of and do like a daily reality check within yourself within those 5 points that I mentioned. You want to pay attention. Where am I at mentally? Where am I at physically? Where am I at emotionally, spiritually, and financially? You know, a person can be so wrapped up within their physical realm that they don't really realize that they're really kind of washing their emotional realm aside and not taking care of that within themselves as well. So pay attention. See what's going on around you. And then you need to give that area a little bit of time that's needed. So, for example, if you're maybe giving a little bit too much time to your physical, you need to kind of really look at that and see what's needed to bring in that adjustment, what's needed to make it a little bit more balanced. Maybe I'm being too much of a couch potato and I really need to get myself moving and doing and being, or maybe I'm spending so many hours at the gym that I miss fixing my family dinner. All of those type of things you need to get it time to really sit there and find the evaluation that's going to help you bring that more into a focus, into an awareness within your time and space. Then you need to set priorities within that. That's where you have to say, okay, I've been a couch potato. I've been sitting here, and I've not given myself a chance to exercise at all. So then maybe you determine that I'm going to give it some priorities, and I'm going to make sure that maybe I walk to get my mail out at the end of the road. Maybe I'm going to not go to the gym and stay there for 3 hours every day. Maybe I'm going to cut that back some. Maybe I'm going to tweak the time of day that I go, those type of things. Then what you want to do is you want to celebrate it. You want to look at it, and you really want to celebrate where you're at within that. If you know that you have an awareness now that says, wow, I really need to get this physical under control, I need to celebrate that knowledge. I need to celebrate my intentions. I need to honor that and celebrate it and give myself permission to move into that space. Then what you want to do is you want to hold no shame or guilt. So here I've spent the last 3 months being a couch potato for whatever reason, for whatever excuse I've given it, and I'm not going to have any shame or guilt that is associated with this because it was the choice that you had made. It was the decision that you had embraced, and by making that decision and embracing it and holding it, it was what was right for you in your perception at that time. So there's no shame or guilt ever in any of the work that you do. It's simply allowing yourself to move forward now. It's allowing yourself to kind of push that shame and guilt and say, no, see the hand, that's not true. We're going to fix this. It's not going to be a big issue. It's not going to take precedence over anything and keep me from moving forward, because that's exactly what shame or guilt will do. It'll hold you back. It'll be like, yep, see, you were such a failure, and this is what you did, and blah, 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 blah. And it's a bunch of nothing but perceived lies that we allow to become a part of us. And then the next thing is have fun and experience the freedom. So it's not going to be something like, we're using the example of getting off the couch. We're not going to look at that as drudgery. We're not going to look at it as, oh, I made a commitment to myself and I have to do this. I made this New Year's resolution to myself and it's going to go away within just a few days. No, when you make that as a commitment of fun and experiencing it as a freedom, that then takes the whole passion and gives it color, gives it reality, gives it life. And when you can find the fun in that, you know, maybe it's the fun of walking down the road and looking for the beautiful flowers that are blooming, or looking at the amazing rocks that are along the way. Find that fun and experience the freedom. And then you want to respect yourself. Respect is the next key in this, and that's where you respect yourself enough to say, I've made this commitment to myself because I know it's going to bring a better balance to my whole life, to my whole situation. I'm going to respect myself. I'm going to respect this journey. I'm going to respect this process. And when you do that, it keeps it more of a passion. It keeps it more of a truth that you can apply to your heart, and you can keep it more in attunement with where you're going. Then the next thing is do not blame, okay? I'm not going to blame it was raining today. I'm not going to blame my mother because she calls me every day at the time that I set aside for this. I'm not going to blame anyone or anything else because that's passing the buck. That's not taking ownership of the situations. That's not taking ownership of the reality. So we don't ever want to do that, and we don't even want to blame ourselves. We don't want to go into that space of blaming ourselves and say, see, you were lazy today. No, 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 no. We look at the circumstances. We look at the situations. We take ownership of what we need to take ownership of, and then we move forward. And then the last step that we're going to work with is keeping balance. This is that important part, and this is that important piece within it, is when we can keep it balanced and we keep all these other 8 parts of this formula operating, then we're able to really know that we're doing and being and living in a manner that's going to strive to get our pie chart and the phases and the processes and the pieces of our life put together so we can kind of move forward. I'm going to kind of read a little example for you of financial. You need to pay attention to what's happening within the money quadrant of your life. Are your money lack or money abundant minded? Where did this mindset come from? Are you happy to be in that space? Is enough really enough? Are you willing to settle for that? Are you making enough money to support your positions? Spend time that is needed to work. Put your thoughts into these mindsets and through the frameworks that have been created. Celebrate who you are financially and bless that space, but also celebrate the changes that it will be. Letting go of financial shame and guilt. Some things are just beyond our current situations. Strive to improve them and then move forward to correct. Allow yourself to have fun with money, even if it's only spending 50 cents. Have fun. Define and determine, though, your own fun. Respect the empowerment that your financial situation has given you. Respect yourself enough to seek assistance and guidance as needed. Do not blame others or the challenges that arise. Take a hold, know your worth, and look in the mirror of ownership, then grasp the brass ring and move forward. Keeping a balance will allow you to evaluate what is working and what is not working. Will give you the opportunity needed to put you in the space and place that is you. Look at who and where you're spending your time and energy. Are you the one who everyone comes to borrow a buck, or are you spending your time around those who have what it is you want to become? That's a way that you can take all of these pieces that we talked about, the paying attention, granting the time that is needed, set your priorities, celebrate, hold no shame or guilt, having fun and experiencing the freedom, respect, do not blame, and keeping balance. When you put all of that together, like in this little scenario that I just read to you, you can see how by working within that arena that is your particular arena, you're able to have a better relationship. What is your relationship with? And you can then build and mold and structure that relationship. You can ask these same types of questions for each area of your cycles of life. Maybe your financial slice of the cycle is great and doesn't need as much work, but your physical body is overweight, underweight, you have no energy, have actually lost any care about who you or care for yourself. On the opposite swing of the pendulum, you spend all your time obsessing with your physical body, spending too much time and spending too much time with the body and no time with your family or the relationships. That's when your cycle gets out of balance. That's where you can look at your emotional person being in a good space and your physical body all of a sudden being blown out of space, like taking up 2 slices of the pie, and your spiritual body only taking up half a slice of the pie, and your financial maybe taking up a spot and a half, or your mental taking up only 1 spot. It's when you look at that pie as the whole divided, you want it equal. You want it all balanced. Within the imbalance of the cycle of life continues to go on, it'll be okay for a while. You'll be okay in that situation and you'll be okay in that place. But over time, that imbalance is going to shift things. And why is that imbalance going to shift things? It's because of the integration of all the parts and pieces of that whole that are conjoined and the ideal concept of life that is expressed. So each piece affects the others. Through the thoughts or the mental will develop an emotional response, which in turn can make the physical symptoms that then become reflective of our financial awareness. And then we question our spiritual being as to why such a thing is happening. Why did my higher power, my God source, allow this to happen to me? This then makes for the whole person to go out of balance. Even though we can ride that little ride for a while, and it might seem like it's okay, it'll eventually catch up with us. It'll eventually throw the whole intrinsic piece of us out of balance through little twists and turns. I know a very dear, wonderful person who has a very strong spiritual practice and a very strong spiritual dedication to work that she's doing. But by the choices and the decisions that she made, she actually lost touch with her children. She actually lost her marriage. She actually lost all of that parts and pieces of herself. And as we were working together, and she looks at me and she says, April, I don't understand why, if I'm dedicating all of myself to my spirituality and it's taking, and I've got enough finances to be okay, but I've lost all of my relationships. What's wrong? It's because her entire cycle of life was off balance in that one little area. So I want to talk about the mental briefly. The neurons in the brain that are triggered with our thoughts scientifically have shown that they affect the physical body. The brain houses our mental awareness, and this is also where we hold on to memories or program beliefs. Webster's dictionary defines the mind as the element of complex of elements in an individual that feels, perceives, thinks, wills, and especially reasons. When the mind is out of balance, we begin to be reactive to life. Rather than thinking and being actively involved in our lives, the autopilot is taking over, and society forgets how to think for themselves. Kind of like when you look out there and you see people just kind of like going through life and you're wondering, wow, I don't think they've even processed a clear thought in their mind for the last 5 years because of the way they're just on that autopilot. This then causes an imbalance with the ability to connect with the cognitive reality of life, opening the doors of programming and perceived concepts that do not serve their higher good. The individual then has become nothing more than a reflective reality versus his or her own personal truth. Ouch, that's really pretty heavy to think about, that when we get so caught up in just focusing in that type of direction. Thoughts perceive actions, and actions create behaviors. We can change our thoughts and watch our lives change. Emotionally, Everyone has feelings. Emotions produce the feelings we are experiencing, past, present, and future. Will be affected by the emotional health of that person. Old events or situations that will trigger an emotional response will be reflected into the emotional part of our being. For example, someone who was pushed into the water as a child, which made them feel like maybe they were going to drown, may as an adult have an emotional connection to water that produces a feeling, an unfavorable feeling. And then they become a person that has this emotional fear that they in turn transmit to other people, to their own children, to others. And it starts being reflective out and away from them, and it's made that emotional cycle just go totally out of perspective. Emotionally, there are two components to the emotional being. They are love and fear. Within fear comes anxiety, anger, sorrow, grief, pity, aggression, bitterness, powerlessness, loneliness, irritability, depression, rejection, any other low-frequency vibrational term that you can think of. That's what happens when we are in one of those emotional capsules. So if we look at all of it, the heading of that emotional capsule of fear holds all of those things. But on the other hand, if we look at the love, it produces hope, desire, joy, pleasure, passion, peace, self-esteem, self-worth, generosity. It's all more of the higher frequency vibrational tendencies that in terms that you can think of. And the chemicals produced in the body when experiencing these emotional are the emotional formula that we're operating with. So you can see where we really have to keep that emotional in check. We really have to look at it and say, wait a minute, which capsule am I working from? Where am I allowing and giving it control and power? What relationship do I have with that? Behaviors are then produced as a result of our feelings or emotions. I just can't deal. I don't feel worthy, which then will develop into behavioral patterns that can cause thoughts of physical body to be out of balance. These can include over and under exercise, smoking, drinking, using drugs, prescription and or illegal. Children who experience emotional traumas can develop behavioral issues as well. Currently, in their behavior patterns, maybe they'll go back to wetting the bed. Maybe they'll have, different reactions that are going to be reflective. But it also could be something that a trigger later in life can bring forward, and boom, you have that imbalance. Also, when feeling and the emotional agendas are not dealt with and are allowed to remain out of balance, this will create a physical disconnection. Interesting, as I'm reading this, I can feel some of and I'm sharing this with you, I can feel some of the folks that are starting to understand this and starting to want to release this. And as I work with the Intuitainment and sharing this information, I can feel they want to release. They want to move on. They want to step into that reality and into being well and to being healed. So physically, the physical body is what we are most aware of because it is tangible. We can see it, we can feel it, we can smell it, we can hear it. The physical body is not totally mysterious. The physical body is made up of tissues, cells, organs, nerves, skeleton, bones, joints, muscles, the endocrine system, the circulatory, the lymphatics, the reproductive, the respiratory, all the different systems that make it up. And within those bodies and within those systems are the chemical reactions that take place. And within those reactions, the signals then are transmitted throughout the body, sending information that will have a cause and effect on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical being. So as you can see, I'm showing you how they all tie together and how we have to have this healthy relationship in a balanced pie, if you will. These signals can tell the body it's sick physically when in reality the message is your thinking is out of balance. Have you ever been in a situation where you get the sniffles a couple of times and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, I got a cold? So then what happens? The body goes ahead and gives you that cold. The body simply listens and produces what it is you want, what it is you think you want. The body has many organs that function because they simply know to. You don't have to sit here and say to the heart, beat, heart, beat, heart. No. You don't have to sit here and say to the liver, function, liver. It simply knows to do that, But when we get out of balance, things can start to change. The heart can start to develop disease. The liver can become infected and not work properly. These are signs that there's an imbalance and that something needs to be tended to. And that's where we have to look at what part of that, what relationship do I have with this so that I can be enjoying life and doing my purpose and what it's all about. There can be traumas in life that will cause us to be out of balance as well. Maybe not being physically present, maybe having been it happen, you begin to go, oh no, and your body goes into an autopilot situation which takes us away so that, number one, we don't experience the trauma. We don't feel or see the actual moment happening. Or if we had experienced and stayed in that place, it could have been too much pain and too much of a taxing and a toll on our physical body. So our body knows to automatically go, no, wait, stop. But if we don't deal with that and if we don't heal that and we don't move that situation from us, it becomes a trigger later in life. And we're splintered, and we have a form of splintering that has kept us from being able to bring that all back together, being able to live all within our body. And those are other things, emotionally, physically, and mentally as well, that can cause us to be out of balance. Spiritually, within spirituality is actually the soul. The soul is the true essence of who we are and what we're living. Breathing beings having a life experience. The soul is your personal existence blueprint. For faith, hope, love, joy, peace, temperance, etc., all those are aspects of the soul, which makes up true spirituality. This leads to the belief in a higher power or source of divine. Your faith can be program learned for the higher good. It can be a belief in God. It could be a belief in Buddha. It could be a belief in nature. It could be a belief in whatever fits with you, any other doctrine that you may have been exposed to. True spirituality is actually the need for the soul to worship, to show gratitude. And it's not the manner that you learn how to do it, but it's what suits you. It's what is truly yours, not what's necessarily been learned. Connecting with your higher awareness in your life is the bringing into balance of your spiritual awakening. Finding the answers that best suit you are enlightened and prove to provide that path that is needed for you. But when out of balance, you're living that life as it's been prescribed by another person. For example, you could be feeling and saying, oh, I'm a Christian and I went to the same church that my great-great-grandfather had established back in the day. Well, in reality, your soul doesn't really resonate with that belief, possibly. And by doing that, you're pulling that soul out of balance, and you feel that you're not connecting to your higher power. So what you need to do is when the reality of your soul doesn't resonate with that belief, it's time to pull away. It's time to reevaluate. It's time to look at it and to say, maybe my higher power is in the forest, sitting there by myself underneath that large oak tree in a prayerful meditative state, expressing gratitude and worship. And this is a space that all of a sudden you're finding your soul singing, and you're really finding that connection with your spiritual journey, with your spiritual truth. Or you may feel deeply connected, sharing space with others of the same beliefs. And that really makes your soul sing. Each individual is individual and true to the truth of your soul. Understanding and expressing your spiritual health is the main component of the soul. So when you think of spirituality, I don't want you to think of spirituality as in a belief of God, of I go to church and those type of things, but it's actually the main component to the soul. The way we behave, how we act, how we react. Excuse me, that really began opening some people's awarenesses as I can really feel it changing within me. The way we believe, act, react, treat all others are indicators of the wellness and the balance within our spiritual person. You find people doing things behind closed doors that they're not doing out in public so that they don't get perceived as something different than what they truly are. They need to look at their spirituality, their soul level. Financially, financial is seen in each and every area of the person. I still have some more people detoxifying on that spirituality, as are all the other above-mentioned aspects. Financial is the reward system whereby which we live. We have been led to believe that certain things about money, we've been led to believe certain things about people, we've been led to believe certain things about people with money, we've been led to believe certain things about people without money. Or do we have a right to have money? I was watching an interesting little clip, and in the little clip, this man who has a lot of money presented himself kind of like what a homeless person would look like, and he approached different establishments, and each one of those establishments sent him away. They did not want him in their space or around them. He, in an hour or so later, came back in his fancy little car and his nice clothes and in the reality of who he is. And they all welcomed him in and offered him a great table. And he was like, this is the perception that the world has. And that's where financially we really have to look beyond what is at face value. When looking at the whole person, it's in that imperative to realize the importance of finding balance, to finding truth and honoring and living life to the fullest. Ways to have this happen is in the individual and within society, jobs, careers, and more. Everything's affected. I don't care what you're doing. You could be trying to correct some of your own personality types that really are not serving your higher good. What part of this piece of this reality do you need to work on to bring it into a fuller understanding? Ways to have this happen in the individual and within society. With the use of mentoring and coaching, this is a way that we can really help you move through the truth of the life cycle. And that can be seen and corrected and balanced and achieved. So with that said, I want to just really kind of give you some higher awareness, some higher understanding that we can easily correct, we can easily be and find out who we are when we all realize that everybody needs a coach or a mentor. Everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what position you have in life. You could be the CEO of one of the biggest corporations in the world, but you need a mentor. And you know what? Every high achiever in life gets that. Every one of them has some kind of coach, some kind of mentor. Companies have coaches, have mentors that are willing to invest in themselves. They see their personal worth. They're striving to improve the quality of their life, of themselves, their companies, their whole being. Observing those that are around them and what they're willing to invest, time, money, and to make changes so that they can be ideal in their own lives. So with that said, I've opened up our lines, and I'm going to open it up to some question and answers. But I want to tell you about an offer that I'm making with this teleseminar. I'm offering 3 one-on-one 45-minute coaching sessions per week, and this is for a 6-month commitment. We're going to cover what is your relationship with, and we're going to build on the topics that really determine and are needed and are key points and factors within yourself. You'll be receiving a video training once a month on topics that you're focused on. You'll be invited to attend a live Intuitainment event that will be conducted in Denver in December, for totally free. And during your coaching sessions, you'll receive valuable tools and knowledge that's going to help you to gain access to working with and connecting to your relationships with. We're going to give you what you need. And in this 6-month program, it's, like I said, 3 times a month for 45 minutes for 6 months. It's a commitment to you to make to yourself and for yourself. With this commitment, if you pay for it up front, for the full 6 months up front, it's $1,800. If you need to break it up into 2 payments of $1,000 each, that's another option that you have. And if you want to go with option 3, the program cost is $350 per month, with an agreed prepayment credit card being held so that each month at a certain time we're running that payment, which gives you an amount of $2,100, and that's a little bit higher. So if you're able to do the payments of full price payment up front, that's going to give you a little bit better. And also as a little incentive bonus, if you go ahead and you're able to take care of that full payment, the full 6 months at the $1,800 up front, I'm going to give you some extra material. I'm going to give you some extra one-on-one, really working with that gut intuitive knowledge within ourselves that's going to help propel you forward. It's time to make an investment in yourself. If I have any folks on the line that would like to ask a question, if you could, and if your number or your line has been muted, go ahead and *6 so that you can open up your phone line and go ahead and ask your question. Okay. Who do I have?
Hi, April. It's Shiloh.
Hi, Shiloh. What question do you have?
I just want to say what you have done tonight was just awesome, and just working on the relationships for just my life. I'm trying to get the question together. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
To project forward to really change that. Just
to really be empowered.
Put into my mind, empowered.
Mhm. It's empowering to make those changes.
Yes.
It gives you that voice. It gives you freedom. It gives you a way to blast through those blockages, is what I kind of feel like I'm hearing you asking.
Yeah.
It gives you that method. It gives you tools to work with so that, you can really just be like, wow, I am so excited about life. Nothing's holding me back ever again. Nothing's ever standing in my way ever again.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Excellent.
Yes.
Anybody else on the call have a question that they'd like to ask? I'm going to give you just a quick little minute here. While you're posing your questions, thinking about your questions, if you have any, I want to tell you how you can go ahead and take advantage of these the 6-month commitment. You can go on to my website, which is aprillugo.com. It's aprillugo, aprillugo.com. And on the page where you can special order this event, you can make your payment there, and you can register for this 6-month coaching commitment. Go ahead and do so there. If you have problems with that site, go ahead and call me at 970-761-0511, and our team will get you registered, and we'll get everything into order that you need in order to make this happen. Once again, it's 3 one-on-one 45-minute coaching sessions per week for a 6-month period. It's a 6-month commitment, and we're going to build on what is your relationship with and the topics as they're determined by you. You'll receive video training once per month on a topic that you're focusing on. You'll be invited to attend the live Intuitainment event that will be conducted in Denver in December, totally free. And during your coaching sessions, you'll receive valuable tools, knowledge that will help you to gain understanding and access to working with and correcting your relationship with. It's a 6-month commitment. The total for the 6 months, if paid free ahead of time, is $1,800, or you can make 2 payments, one every 3 months at $1,000, or you can use option 3, which is to pay for the program on a monthly basis of $350 and set up with a prepaid agreement for the 6 months equaling $2,100. And then you also, if you prepay for the entire program at once, the $1,800, you will automatically be receiving some extra bonus materials on how to really get a hold of this and how to really focus in on this. And we'll be doing some intuitive work to really help you understand where you are at in this journey and how to really get a hold of it and how to really focus on it. Once again, you can find out more about it. You can register for this and you can pay for this on my website, April Lugo, A-P-R-I-L, Lugo, Lugo.com. And you can find the page that talks about the your relationship with, and go ahead and register and pay for your event there. If you have problems with that or if you need to talk to one of our team members, you can give us a call at 970-761-0511. And I'm going to once again ask if there's anyone who has any comments or any questions that they'd like to ask or say before we go ahead and end our program here. Nope. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for being a part and for listening, and let's get on the journey and move forward and find out our relationship with. Have a great rest of your day.